Karen's bat cracked against the birdbath, and the neighborhood froze, as if her swing had shattered the last shred of civility. Who knew a $20 camera could unleash a suburban apocalypse? The Petersons' backyard, once a tidy haven of azaleas and wind chimes, now looked like a war zone, thanks to Karen, the HOA's self-appointed queen. Her reign of terror began with a single slingshot pellet, fired by her son, Tyler. That took out the Petersons' new security camera. That one act, a teenage prank gone wrong, had spiraled into this Karen, red-faced and screaming, facing off against Lisa Peterson, who stood her ground with nothing but a garden hose and a heart full of fury. It started innocently enough. The Petersons installed cameras after a string of package thefts, a practical move in their quiet cul-de-sac. But Karen, who patrolled the neighborhood like a hawk, saw the cameras as a personal affront. "They're spying on us." She'd ranted at the last HOA meeting, her voice shrill enough to rattle the community center's windows. Nobody took her seriously. Karen's complaints were as common as her tacky lawn flamingos. But Tyler, her 15-year-old with a chip on his shoulder, did. Armed with his slingshot and a grudge, he snuck into the Petersons' yard at dusk, took aim, and fired. The camera's lens shattered, and with it, any hope of peace. Lisa discovered the wreckage the next morning. The camera hung limply from its mount, wires exposed like veins. She checked the footage, a grainy clip of Tyler's smirking face, slingshot in hand, before the screen went black. Furious but calm, Lisa marched to Karen's house, video in hand, expecting an apology. Instead, she got a tirade. "You're violating our privacy," Karen shrieked, her front door barely open. "Those cameras are illegal, and you're lucky Tyler didn't sue you for harassment." Lisa, stunned, held up her phone with the footage. Karen swatted it away, and the phone skittered across the porch. That was the first spark. By noon, Karen had rallied her HOA loyalists, a trio of busybodies armed with clipboards and righteous indignation. They stormed the Petersons' property, citing violations of HOA rules that didn't exist. Lisa, a single mom who'd fought tooth and nail for her home, wasn't having it. She met them at the property line, her voice steady but her eyes blazing. "Get off my lawn, Karen, or I'll call the cops." The threat only fueled Karen's fire. She returned that evening, bat in hand, Tyler trailing behind her like a reluctant soldier. The neighbors watched, phones out, as Karen's wrath turned physical. The birdbath was her first victim. With a grunt, she swung, and the concrete basin toppled, water soaking the grass. Lisa rushed outside, hose in hand, as Karen advanced on the garden gnome. Another swing, and the gnome's cheery face split in two. "You think you can spy on us?" Karen bellowed, her voice carrying across the street. "I'll tear this whole place apart." Tyler, pale and silent, clutched his slingshot, his bravado gone. Lisa, heart pounding, aimed the hose and squeezed. A jet of water hit Karen square in the chest, knocking her back a step. The crowd gasped, and for a moment, the world held its breath. This was no mere neighborly spat, it was a reckoning. Karen's bat trembled in her hands, water dripping from her blouse, but her eyes burned with defiance. Lisa, soaked from her own spray, stood tall, the hose her only shield. The shattered camera sparked faintly, a reminder of the chaos Tyler had ignited. Neighbors whispered, filming the showdown, their voices a low hum of shock and glee. Karen's allies, the HOA trio, hesitated at the fence, their clipboards useless against this raw, unscripted fury. Tyler, caught between loyalty and fear, dropped his slingshot, the clatter loud in the sudden silence. Lisa seized the moment. "You're not the victim here." "Karen," she said, her voice cutting through the tension, "your son broke my property, and you're destroying my home to cover for him. This ends now." She stepped forward, hose still dripping, and pointed at the wreckage. "Look at this. You've ruined what I've built. All because you can't admit Tyler screwed up." The words hit like a slap. Karen flinched, her bat lowering an inch. The crowd murmured, sensing the shift. Tyler's face crumpled, and he muttered, "I'm sorry," so softly only Karen heard. But apologies wouldn't fix the birdbath, the gnome, or the trust Karen had shattered. Karen's rage reignited. She raised the bat, aiming for the dangling camera, determined to erase her son's guilt. Lisa lunged, dropping the hose and grabbing Karen's wrist. The two women grappled, a clumsy, desperate struggle, as Tyler shouted, "Mom, stop!" Neighbors surged forward, some cheering, others yelling for peace. The HOA trio fled, their authority dissolved in the chaos. Lisa, stronger than she looked, wrestled the bat free and tossed it into the grass. Karen stumbled, panting, her hair a wild halo. For the first time, she looked small, stripped of her bluster. The turning point came fast. Lisa, chest heaving, picked up her phone from the grass and played the footage again, this time on speaker. Tyler's voice, cocky and clear, echoed, "Take that spy cam." The crowd turned on Karen, their murmurs now accusations. "She's been bullying everyone," one neighbor said. "My mailbox got egged after I ignored her fines," another added. Karen's reign, built on petty power and fear, crumbled under the weight of her own actions. Tyler, tears in his eyes, grabbed her arm. "Let's go." "Mom," he said, pulling her toward the gate. Karen resisted, but her fight was gone. The aftermath was brutal. The HOA held an emergency meeting the next day, and the neighbors, emboldened by Lisa's stand, voted Karen out as president. Her clipboard empire collapsed, her fines ignored, her flamingos mocked. Tyler, grounded and humiliated, confessed to the police, who issued a warning and a bill for the damages. Karen, facing a lawsuit from Lisa for the destroyed property, retreated into her house, her curtains drawn. The neighborhood buzzed with gossip, but Lisa didn't gloat. She fixed her yard, replanted her azaleas, and installed a new camera, this one out of slingshot range. Her victory wasn't just in the fight, it was in reclaiming her peace. But the sting lingered. Karen's outburst had exposed a deeper truth: unchecked power, even in a cul-de-sac, could tear a community apart. Lisa, reflecting on the chaos, realized the real cost wasn't the birdbath or the gnome. It was the trust shattered by Karen's blind defense of her son. The neighborhood would heal, but scars would remain. Tyler, once a cocky kid, now carried the weight of his mother's downfall, his slingshot gathering dust. Karen, once a tyrant, was now a pariah. Her name a cautionary tale whispered over fences. The Petersons' backyard bloomed again, but the memory of that dusk lingered, a reminder of how fragile civility could be. Lisa, watering her new flowers, looked at the wooden fence where a neighbor had nailed a sign, "Karen's Chaos, a Tale of Rage." It was weathered now, but it stood as a testament to the day a hose beat a bat. Share your own story of standing up to a bully, because every victory, no matter how small, rebuilds what was broken.